Somewhere tonight, someone may be making the same dua you are. They are asking Allah for someone loyal, someone gentle, someone emotionally mature, someone who fears Allah, someone who will protect their heart instead of becoming another reason it needs healing. Maybe you have been asking Allah for exactly the same person, but tonight I want you to stop asking, when will Allah send them to me, and ask something much harder. If Allah made you the answer to someone else's dua tomorrow, would you be ready to become their peace? Or would they inherit the anger you never learned to control, the insecurity you never healed, the wounds that make you suspicious of sincere love, the habits you keep promising yourself you will fix one day? Because marriage does not magically heal what you bring into it. It gives another human being a front row seat to it. And sometimes we become so obsessed with finding the right person that we never notice the person Allah may be asking us to become. So before you make another dua for marriage tonight, stay with me. Because these 5 things may reveal whether you are truly ready for the spouse you keep asking Allah to send you, or only ready for the idea of them. 1. Stop asking for a good spouse while ignoring what you would be like to live with. Tonight, somewhere, someone is making dua for the kind of spouse you keep asking Allah to send you. They are asking for someone gentle, someone loyal, someone emotionally mature, someone who fears Allah, someone who does not play games with their heart, someone who knows how to communicate when things become difficult, someone who can apologize without turning every mistake into an argument, someone who will make their home feel peaceful instead of emotionally exhausting. Maybe those are the same things you have been asking Allah for, and there is nothing wrong with that. You should want good character. You should have standards. You should care deeply about who you marry. But there is a question almost nobody enjoys asking, and if you are serious about marriage, you should not avoid it. If Allah sent you the kind of person you keep praying for tonight, would you be the kind of person they have been praying for too? Sit with that for a moment, because most of us imagine marriage from only one side. We imagine what it will feel like to finally be chosen, to finally have someone beside us, to wake up knowing someone belongs in our life, to have someone who listens, someone who checks on us, someone who reassures us, someone who stays, someone who makes us feel safe. But while you are imagining what they will bring into your life, there is another side of the marriage you may never have seriously imagined. What will it feel like for them to live with you, not date you, not text you, not talk to you for 2 hours when both of you are in a good mood, live with you every day, when you are tired, when money is tight, when something goes wrong, when you feel ignored, when you are jealous, when you are disappointed, when they tell you something you do not want to hear, when they cannot give you what you want. That is when the version of you hidden underneath attraction begins to appear. And that version matters far more than the version people meet at the beginning. Imagine Allah gives you someone incredibly patient. For years you asked for that, but you never learned to control your temper. At first they forgive you, then they forgive you again. You raise your voice. You say something cruel. You calm down and apologize. They forgive you, and because they keep forgiving you, you begin assuming they always will. Without realizing it, the patience you once prayed for becomes something you consume, until one day, that patient person becomes quiet. Not because everything is okay, but because they have become tired of being hurt by someone who keeps promising to change. Now imagine Allah gives you someone loyal, the kind of person who genuinely wants only you, but you never healed your insecurity, so their loyalty never feels like enough. You question innocent things. You analyze their tone. You notice who they follow. You worry when they take too long to respond. You need reassurance again, then again, then again, and eventually, instead of enjoying their loyalty, you make them spend the marriage proving it. Imagine Allah gives you someone gentle, but whenever you feel hurt, you become sharp. You know exactly which words will hurt them, and when you are angry, you use those words. Then later you say, "I didn't mean it, I was just upset." But they remember. Because people do not forget every sentence simply because you regret saying it. Now imagine Allah gives you someone who communicates beautifully. They do not disappear when something is wrong. They sit beside you and say, "Can we talk about something?" But every time they tell you that your behavior hurt them, you become defensive. You explain. You justify. You remind them of their mistakes. You turn their pain into a debate about your intentions. Eventually, something changes. They stop telling you things, and you wonder why your spouse no longer communicates with you the way they used to. Sometimes people stop communicating because honesty stopped feeling safe. This is why one of the deepest preparations for marriage has nothing to do with finding anyone. It is becoming safe enough for someone good to love. And there is a painful truth here. Sometimes we ask Allah for qualities we ourselves would struggle to protect. We want honesty. But can we receive uncomfortable honesty without punishing the person who gives it? We want vulnerability. But when someone reveals a weakness, will we protect it or bring it back during the next argument? We want loyalty. But are our own eyes, conversations, messages, and private habits loyal? We want patience. But how patient are we when life refuses to happen according to our expectations? We want someone who fears Allah. But what does our relationship with Allah look like when nobody is watching? This is where marriage preparation becomes uncomfortable. Because suddenly, you are no longer evaluating some imaginary future spouse. You are evaluating yourself. Ask yourself tonight, what happens when I do not get my way? Who do I become when someone tells me no? What happens when I feel ignored? Can I remain respectful while angry? Can I admit I was wrong without immediately explaining why I did it? Can I apologize without adding the word but? Can someone correct me without becoming my enemy? Can I keep a promise when keeping it becomes inconvenient? Can I hear another person's pain without making the entire conversation about myself? And here is perhaps the hardest question. Would I want someone I love deeply to marry a person who behaves the way I behave when I am at my worst? Do not answer quickly, because attraction can hide these things. Marriage cannot. You can hide certain habits during conversations. You can choose your best words when you know someone is watching. You can be patient for a few hours. You can appear emotionally mature when nothing is testing you. But you cannot permanently perform inside your own home. Eventually, marriage meets the unedited version of you. Your spouse meets your morning mood, your spending habits, your relationship with your phone, your temper, your discipline, your cleanliness, your ego, your ability to forgive, your relationship with responsibility, your relationship with family, your private relationship with Allah. They meet who you are after the excitement settles. And this is something people rarely tell you before marriage. Being loved closely means being seen closely. That can be beautiful. But it also means the things you refuse to fix will eventually become things another person has to live with. Your anger does not remain your problem. Your dishonesty does not remain your problem. Your lack of responsibility does not remain your problem. Your uncontrolled tongue does not remain your problem. Your emotional immaturity eventually enters someone else's daily life. This does not mean you must become perfect before you marry. You will never reach that point. Your future spouse will have weaknesses too. Marriage is not two perfect people finding each other. It is two imperfect people trying to build something with mercy, responsibility, patience, repentance, and the consciousness of Allah. But there is a huge difference between having weaknesses and protecting them from change. A mature person can say, I know this part of me needs work. I was wrong. I hurt you. I need to become better. An immature person keeps saying, this is just how I am. Be careful with that sentence. Because sometimes, this is just how I am, really means, I have decided that everyone who loves me must suffer what I refuse to change. That is not authenticity. That is avoidance. Your personality does not excuse cruelty. Your childhood does not excuse every adult behavior. Your past can explain your wounds without giving you permission to wound somebody else. And your future spouse should not become the person forced to repair everything you had years to begin confronting. So perhaps tonight your dua needs one extra sentence. Do not only say, Ya Allah, give me a righteous spouse. Say, Ya Allah, make me righteous in the places my future spouse will eventually see. Do not only say, Ya Allah, send me someone gentle. Ask, Ya Allah, soften my tongue too. Do not only ask for someone loyal. Ask Allah to purify your own private choices. Do not only ask for someone patient. Ask Allah to expose the parts of your character that keep testing other people's patience. Do not only ask for someone who will bring peace into your life. Ask Allah to make your presence peaceful too. Because maybe preparation for marriage is not only Allah bringing the right person closer. Maybe part of preparation is Allah showing you what must change before they arrive. And perhaps that is why some seasons of waiting should not be rushed. You think nothing is happening, but Allah may be giving you time to grow. Time to notice yourself, time to repent, time to develop discipline, time to confront the habits that would become much harder to confront once another heart depends upon you. So while you wait, do not only search, build. become more trustworthy, become easier to communicate with, become more responsible, become slower to anger, become quicker to apologize, become more serious about Allah when nobody sees you. Because there may be someone somewhere asking Allah for a person with exactly the qualities you keep asking him to give you. And perhaps one of the most beautiful forms of preparation is reaching the day when Allah brings two people together, and both of them discover that while they were praying for the right person, Allah was teaching them how to become one. But character is only the first thing. Because even a person with good intentions can destroy something beautiful when an old wound begins speaking louder than the person standing in front of them. And that is the second thing you must fix before marriage. 2. Heal the part of you that turns fear into control. One of the most dangerous things you can bring into marriage is not your past. It is a past that still controls your present. Because sometimes the person standing in front of you has done nothing wrong, but your heart is already preparing to survive what somebody else did to you. Someone lied to you before, so now you search for dishonesty. Someone disappeared without explanation, so now silence feels dangerous. Someone made you feel replaceable, so now every attractive person feels like competition. Someone gave you affection one day and withdrew it the next, so now you cannot fully relax when somebody loves you. And perhaps you tell yourself, I am just being careful. But there is a difference between being careful and being afraid. Wisdom watches what is actually happening. Fear watches what might happen. Wisdom notices patterns. Fear creates patterns from almost nothing. Wisdom protects your heart. Fear can slowly imprison someone else's, and this is where an old wound can quietly become a new marriage problem. Imagine you marry someone who genuinely loves you. They are loyal. They are trying. They have given you no serious reason to doubt them. One evening, they are quieter than usual. Nothing dramatic happened. Maybe they are tired. Maybe work was difficult. Maybe something is on their mind. But something inside you immediately changes. You notice their tone. You notice they are speaking less. You notice they are looking at their phone. And suddenly your mind begins filling the silence. Something is wrong. They're becoming distant. Maybe they regret marrying me. Maybe there is someone else. Maybe I am losing them. Your spouse has said almost nothing, but your fear has already written an entire story. So you ask, what's wrong? They say, nothing. I'm just tired. But you cannot accept it. Are you sure? Yes. Did I do something? No. Then why are you acting different? Now they become confused, because in their reality, they are simply exhausted. But in your reality, you are fighting abandonment, and this is what unhealed fear does. It makes the present answer for the past. Something small happens today, and suddenly your heart reacts to something that happened years ago. That is why healing matters before marriage, because your future spouse should not spend years defending themselves against someone else's crime. Read that again in your heart. The person who eventually loves you should not have to repeatedly prove that they are not the person who hurt you. But this becomes difficult when pain turns into control. And control does not always look aggressive. Sometimes it sounds almost romantic. Text me when you get there. That can be care. But then it becomes, why didn't you text immediately? Who was there? Who were you sitting beside? Why did you take so long? Why didn't you tell me they would be there? Why did you like that post? Why did you follow that person? Why were you online but didn't reply to me? One question becomes 10. Reassurance lasts for 5 minutes. Then you need it again. And slowly, love becomes an investigation. You begin checking instead of trusting, testing instead of communicating, monitoring instead of understanding. And because the fear feels so real inside you, you may believe your behavior is justified. You may even call it love. I only care because I love you so much. But love and fear can produce very different behavior. Love says, I value you. Fear says, I need to control you so I cannot lose you. Love wants closeness. Fear demands constant access. Love appreciates reassurance. Fear can become addicted to reassurance. Love allows another human being to breathe. Fear believes breathing room means emotional distance. And if you do not learn the difference, you can receive a loyal spouse and still make loyalty feel like a courtroom where they are permanently on trial. There is another way fear appears. Testing. Maybe you have done this without realizing it. You deliberately become quiet to see whether they notice. You stop messaging to see whether they chase you. You mention another person to see whether they become jealous. You say, maybe we shouldn't be together, but you do not actually want to leave. You want them to panic. You want them to fight for you. You want proof. You create emotional distance so they will close it. For a moment, the result feels comforting. They chase you. They reassure you. They say, please don't leave. And something inside you feels safe again, but only temporarily. Because reassurance cannot permanently heal a wound you refuse to confront. Soon, you need another test. Then another, and eventually the person you love becomes exhausted from taking exams they never agreed to sit. This is why you need to understand something before marriage. A healthy person should not have to repeatedly suffer in order to prove that they love you. Do not create pain just to measure their commitment. Do not threaten the relationship just to hear them beg for it. Do not manufacture distance just to see whether they will chase. Ask for reassurance when you genuinely need reassurance. Speak when something frightens you. Be honest. Say, this triggered something in me. Say, I know you may not have meant anything by this, but I noticed fear coming up. That requires more courage than playing games. Because manipulation hides vulnerability, honesty reveals it, and mature love needs honesty. But there is another side to this that matters deeply. Healing does not mean becoming naive. Islam does not ask you to ignore obvious dishonesty and call it trust. If someone repeatedly lies, pay attention. If someone's words and actions constantly contradict each other, pay attention. If someone violates appropriate boundaries, take it seriously. If there is genuine evidence of harmful behavior, do not silence your judgment because you are afraid of appearing insecure. Healing is not teaching yourself that everybody is trustworthy. Healing is learning to judge the person in front of you by their actual character, instead of automatically judging them by somebody else's behavior. There is a powerful question you can begin asking yourself whenever fear rises. What actually happened? Not, what am I afraid happened? Not, what happened to me before? Not, what could this mean if everything goes wrong? What actually happened? Maybe they replied 2 hours later. That is what happened. They are losing interest is an interpretation. Maybe they were quiet tonight. That happened. They don't love me anymore is an interpretation. Maybe they disagreed with you. That happened. They are going to leave me is an interpretation. Learn to separate the event from the story your wound attaches to the event. That small habit can protect you from causing enormous damage. Because not every uncomfortable feeling is a warning from Allah. Sometimes it is simply fear. Not every anxious thought is intuition. Not every change in someone's mood is about you. Not every delayed message carries a hidden meaning, and not every disagreement is the beginning of abandonment. Sometimes a tired person is simply tired. Sometimes a quiet person simply needs quiet. Sometimes someone can love you deeply and still need an hour alone. If you cannot allow that, marriage can become suffocating. Your spouse begins feeling responsible, not only for their own actions, but for every fear those actions might awaken inside you. That is an impossible responsibility. And eventually they may begin hiding normal things, not because they are doing something wrong, but because they are exhausted by the reaction. That is how fear sometimes creates the very distance it was trying to prevent. You become afraid of losing someone, so you grip tighter. They begin feeling suffocated, so they pull back. You feel them pulling back, so you grip even tighter. And now both people are trapped inside a cycle neither one originally wanted. This is why healing is an act of love towards someone you may not have even met yet. When you confront your insecurity now, you are protecting your future home. When you learn emotional regulation now, you are protecting conversations that have not happened yet. When you stop making another person's attention the measurement of your worth, you are protecting a spouse from having to constantly repair your self-esteem. And perhaps most importantly, you begin remembering something your fear keeps forgetting. What Allah has written for you does not need to be protected through obsession. You still use wisdom, you still communicate, you still maintain boundaries, you still pay attention to character. But you do not have to destroy your peace trying to control every possibility. You cannot monitor another human being into loyalty. You cannot interrogate someone into sincerity. You cannot control someone into loving you. A person with no taqwa can find a way to betray even the strictest rules. And a person who truly fears Allah carries a boundary inside themselves, even when nobody is watching. So do not search only for someone you can trust. Become someone capable of trusting wisely, and learn where your ultimate trust belongs, with Allah. Because even the most loving spouse cannot promise you a life without disappointment. People change, circumstances change, life changes. Only Allah remains your ultimate refuge. When your heart understands that, you stop gripping people, as if losing them would mean losing yourself. You can love deeply without constantly panicking. You can care without controlling. You can notice without obsessing. You can ask without interrogating. You can set boundaries without building a prison. And if something truly is wrong, you can face it with dignity, rather than living every peaceful day terrified of a disaster that has not happened. So tonight, do not only ask, who hurt me? Ask, what did that hurt teach me to do? Did it teach you to distrust everyone? Did it teach you to expect abandonment? Did it teach you to test people? Did it teach you to become controlling? Did it teach you that you must always be chosen to feel valuable? Did it teach you to run before somebody can leave you? Because sometimes the person who hurt you is already gone, but the survival habits they created are still living inside your relationships. Do not let someone from your past quietly become a third person in your future marriage. Take the lesson, keep the wisdom, strengthen your boundaries, but begin releasing the fear. Make dua, Ya Allah, heal what makes me suspicious of what is sincere. Ya Allah, give me wisdom without making my heart hard. Ya Allah, protect me from betrayal, but also protect me from destroying something good because I am afraid of betrayal. Ya Allah, do not let yesterday's pain decide how I treat tomorrow's blessing, because perhaps one day Allah will place a sincere person in your life, someone who does not want to play with you, someone who does not want to leave you confused, someone who wants to build something halal, peaceful, and lasting. And when that person arrives, you do not want your old wounds to be louder than their new sincerity. But even healing your fear is not enough, because eventually every marriage reaches a moment when two people who genuinely love each other disagree. And in that moment, love itself is not the only thing being tested. Your tongue is, your ego is, your character is. And that is where the third lesson begins. 3. Learn to disagree without destroying love. You may think you are ready for marriage because you know how to love someone, but there is a harder question. Do you know how to love someone when you are angry with them? Because almost anyone can be gentle when they feel understood. Almost anyone can be affectionate when they are getting what they want. Almost anyone can speak beautifully when the relationship feels easy. Marriage reveals something deeper. Who are you when the person you love disappoints you? Who are you when they disagree with you? Who are you when they tell you that you were wrong? Who are you when they say no? Who are you when they hurt your feelings without intending to? That version of you will eventually enter your marriage, and sometimes the greatest threat to a marriage is not the absence of love. It is what two people do to each other when love is temporarily buried beneath anger, because every marriage will have disagreement. You can choose someone righteous. You can choose someone compatible. You can communicate beautifully before marriage. You can make istihara. You can involve families. You can begin with sincere intentions, and still, there will be nights when you do not understand each other. There will be decisions where you want different things. There will be financial pressure, family tension, exhaustion, unmet expectations, misunderstood words. Moments when one person wants to talk and the other needs time. Moments when both of you sincerely believe, I am right. The question is not whether those moments will come. The question is, what will they bring out of you? Some people become a completely different person when they are angry. Their voice changes, their face changes, their words change. Suddenly, the person they claim to love becomes someone they need to defeat, and once winning becomes the goal, almost anything begins to feel justified. You interrupt, you raise your voice, you mock, you become sarcastic. You bring up something from 3 years ago. You remind them of the mistake they thought you had forgiven. You attack their family. You attack their intelligence. You attack their character. And sometimes you reach for the one thing you know will hurt most. Because when someone loves you deeply, they eventually tell you where they are fragile. They tell you what they are insecure about. They tell you what happened in childhood. They tell you what they are ashamed of. They tell you the words somebody once used to break them. They trust you with parts of themselves they hide from almost everyone else. And that knowledge becomes an amana. Be very careful what you do with it when you are angry. Because one of the cruelest things you can do in marriage is turn someone's vulnerability into ammunition. Imagine your spouse once tells you, "I've always been afraid that I'm not enough." Months later, you argue, and because you want to hurt them, you say, "Maybe that's because you really aren't enough." The argument may end that night, but that sentence may not. They may forgive you. They may even tell you they forgive you, but the next time they want to open their heart, something inside them remembers. The last time I showed this person where I was vulnerable, they used it against me. So they reveal a little less, then a little less, and slowly, emotional intimacy begins dying. Not because love disappeared overnight, but because safety did. This is why the way you argue matters so much. A marriage cannot remain emotionally intimate when honesty feels dangerous. If your spouse knows every weakness they reveal may return during the next fight, eventually they will stop revealing themselves. If every concern becomes an argument, eventually they will stop bringing concerns. If every disagreement ends in humiliation, eventually silence begins feeling safer than communication. And one day you may say, "You never talk to me anymore," without realizing that perhaps they learned not to. This is where you need to understand something before marriage. Winning an argument and protecting a marriage are not always the same thing. Your ego can win while your relationship loses. You can prove your point and still damage trust. You can get the final word and still create distance. You can make them admit they were wrong and still leave them feeling humiliated. You can walk away thinking, "I showed them," but what exactly did you show them? That when you become angry, love becomes unsafe? That your respect disappears when you feel disrespected? That everything they trusted you with can become a weapon? That peace only exists when they agree with you? That is not victory. Sometimes the strongest person in an argument is the one who could say something devastating and chooses not to, not because they have nothing to say, because they fear Allah more than they desire the satisfaction of hurting someone back. There is enormous strength in restraint. Your anger may tell you, "Say it." Your ego may say, "They hurt you. Hurt them too." Shaitan would love to turn one disagreement into 10 wounds. But Taqwa asks a different question. Will Allah be pleased with what I am about to say? That question can save you from sentences you may regret for years, because words are strange. They leave your mouth in seconds, but they can live inside another person for decades. You may forget exactly what you said. The person who heard it may remember the exact night, the exact room, the exact tone, especially when those words came from someone they trusted. So learn before marriage that anger does not give you permission to become cruel. Being hurt does not make every response halal. Feeling disrespected does not give you permission to disrespect. And loving someone does not mean you will never become angry with them. It means even when you are angry, you remember they are still an amanah from Allah. Sometimes the best thing you can do during a disagreement is stop, not abandon the conversation, not punish them with silence. Stop before your emotions turn the conversation into destruction. There is a difference between taking space and using silence as a weapon. Taking space says, "I am too emotional to speak properly right now. Give me some time, and I will come back so we can talk." Punishing silence says, "I am going to make you suffer until you come begging for connection." One protects the relationship, the other manipulates it. Learn that difference. If you know your anger is rising, say, "I want to talk about this, but I don't trust my words right now." There is maturity in that sentence. You are not running away. You are protecting both of you from a version of yourself that needs time to settle. Then come back. That part matters. Do not ask for space and disappear for days. Do not leave the other person wondering whether the relationship still exists. Take the time you genuinely need, then return to the conversation. Because healthy conflict is not about avoiding difficult conversations. It is about learning how to survive them without damaging each other's dignity. And when you return, listen. Actually listen. Most people do not listen during arguments. They wait while the other person speaks. They are preparing a response. They are gathering evidence. They are looking for contradictions. They are building a defense. So two people talk for an hour, and neither person feels heard. Try something different. When your spouse says, "This hurt me," resist the immediate urge to explain why they should not be hurt. Their pain does not disappear simply because your intention was different. Maybe you did not mean to hurt them. That matters. But impact matters too. Sometimes you need to say, "I didn't realize that affected you that way. Tell me more." That sentence can change an entire conversation. Because now, you are not standing across from each other as enemies. You are standing beside each other, looking at the problem. That is the shift healthy marriages learn to make. It is no longer me against you. It becomes us against what is hurting us. And sometimes, what is hurting the marriage is you. Sometimes it is them. Sometimes it is both of you. Maturity means being able to discover that without collapsing into shame or defensiveness. This is why you must learn how to apologize before marriage. Not the kind of apology that secretly accuses the other person. I'm sorry you got offended. That is not accountability. Not, I'm sorry, but you made me angry. The word but just erased everything before it. Not, fine, I'm sorry. Are you happy now? That is surrender, not repentance. A sincere apology sounds more like, what I did was wrong. I understand why it hurt you. You did not deserve that from me. I need to work on this. And then the most important part, change. Because if you apologize for the same behavior every week, but make no sincere effort to change it, eventually, sorry becomes another sound your spouse stops believing. Repentance in Islam is not merely feeling bad. There is turning back. There is correction. There is an attempt to leave what was wrong. Your relationships deserve that same seriousness. If you discover that you become cruel when angry, work on it. If you shut down whenever conversations become uncomfortable, work on it. If you become defensive whenever corrected, work on it. If you cannot admit mistakes, work on it. If you raise your voice because you believe volume gives your argument more authority, work on it. Do not wait until marriage to discover that another person's heart cannot survive the habits you keep excusing. And watch your relationship with pride. Pride can make two people spend 3 days miserable because neither one wants to send the first message. Both miss each other. Both want peace. Both know the argument has gone too far. But one thought keeps appearing. Why should I be the one? That sentence has prolonged countless conflicts. Sometimes you should be the one because reconciliation is more valuable than your ego. Sometimes you should be the one because you were wrong. Sometimes you should be the one even when both of you contributed. Seeking peace does not always mean admitting total blame. It can simply mean deciding that protecting the relationship matters more than protecting your pride. But do not confuse reconciliation with tolerating abuse. Patience does not mean accepting cruelty without boundaries. Forgiveness does not require pretending repeated harmful behavior is normal. Islamic character does not mean allowing someone to destroy your dignity. There is a difference between ordinary marital conflict and persistent harm. Wisdom must remain, but in normal disagreements between two people sincerely trying to build something good, mercy matters, restraint matters, humility matters, and there is another test almost nobody prepares for. What happens after the argument is over? Some people say they forgive, but they keep collecting evidence. Every mistake goes into an invisible file. Then 6 months later, during another disagreement, the file opens. You always do this. Remember what you did last year? You're exactly the same. Now the current argument is no longer about today. You are fighting every disagreement the marriage has ever had at once. Be careful. If something has genuinely been resolved and forgiven, do not repeatedly resurrect it simply because you need more weapons. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting every lesson, but if you choose to remain and rebuild, there must eventually be room for the other person to become more than their worst moment. You will need that mercy too, because one day you will make a mistake. You will say something badly. You will misunderstand. You will disappoint the person you love, and you will hope they can see more in you than that moment. Give the kind of mercy you will one day need. So before you marry, pay attention to yourself during conflict, not only romantic conflict. Watch yourself with your parents, your siblings, your friends, your coworkers. What happens when somebody disagrees with you? Do you become disrespectful? Do you need the final word? Do you withdraw affection? Do you punish? Do you gossip about them afterward? Do you expose private things because you are angry? Do you apologize? Do you reflect? These are not small habits. You are rehearsing the person you may become inside marriage. So practice now. Practice lowering your voice when your emotions rise. Practice saying, I was wrong. Practice hearing criticism without immediately building a defense. Practice walking away from words Allah would not be pleased with. Practice coming back when you have calmed down. Practice protecting people's secrets even when you are upset with them. Practice making peace without needing to win. Because one day, if Allah wills, someone may sit across from you in your home with tears in their eyes, and what happens next may depend on the character you are building tonight. You could protect your ego, or you could protect the heart Allah entrusted to you. And sometimes the most beautiful sentence in a marriage is not, "I love you." Sometimes it is, "I was wrong. Please forgive me." Sometimes it is, "I am angry, but I will not disrespect you." Sometimes it is, "We disagree, but you are still precious to me." Sometimes it is simply knowing when to stop speaking before anger turns one painful moment into a permanent scar. So ask Allah, "Ya Allah, give me a tongue that remembers you when I am angry. Give me humility when I am wrong. Give me restraint when my ego wants revenge. Teach me to correct without humiliating. Teach me to listen without defending. And never let my anger make the person I love feel unsafe with me, because the strength of your future marriage may not be measured by how rarely you disagree. It may be measured by whether love, respect, and the fear of Allah are still present when you do. But even if you learn to control your tongue and manage conflict beautifully, marriage will eventually reveal another side of you, not the romantic side, not the emotional side, the ordinary side. The version of you that handles money, time, responsibility, family, habits, worship, and daily life when nobody is impressed. Because marriage is not lived only in beautiful moments. Most of it is lived on ordinary days. And that is where the fourth lesson begins. 4. Fix your private life before you share a life with someone. There is a version of marriage people love imagining late at night. The beautiful conversations, someone waiting for you at home, someone asking how your day went, praying together, eating together, laughing over small things, building a home, growing older beside someone who knows you better than almost anyone else. Those moments can be beautiful, but marriage is not lived only in moments like those. Marriage is also lived when the sink is full, when the bills arrive, when one of you is exhausted, when something breaks, when money is tighter than expected, when relatives interfere, when somebody has to wake up early, when the house needs attention, when one person has had a terrible day and the other person has had one too. Nobody makes romantic videos about those moments. But those moments make up a large part of real life, and this is where something many people discover too late becomes painfully clear. You are not only marrying someone's heart, you are marrying their habits, and they are marrying yours. Your future spouse will eventually live with the things nobody sees while you are single. Your relationship with money, your relationship with time, your relationship with your phone, your cleanliness, your discipline, your sleeping habits, your work ethic, your relationship with family, your ability to keep promises, your private worship, your ability to carry responsibility without somebody constantly reminding you. These things may sound less exciting than chemistry, but after marriage, they can become some of the loudest things in the house. You may love someone deeply and still exhaust them by being irresponsible. You may have beautiful Islamic knowledge and still make home life difficult because you never learned to carry your share. You may speak gently, but repeatedly break promises. You may say, "I love you," every day, while leaving the other person to manage everything you refuse to manage. Love matters, but love does not wash the dishes. Love does not pay a bill you forgot for the third time. Love does not automatically create financial discipline. Love does not teach you how to manage time. Love does not create boundaries with relatives. Love does not turn an irresponsible person into a responsible spouse the moment the nikah is complete. Marriage magnifies habits, and that is why your private life matters. Start with something simple. Your word. When you tell someone, "I'll do it," do you do it? When you say, "I'll be there at this time," can people rely on you? When you borrow something, do you return it? When you owe money, do you take that seriously? When nobody is checking, do you still keep your commitments? Because reliability is one of the quietest forms of love. Imagine living with someone whose words you cannot trust. Not because they are deliberately lying, but because they constantly promise things they never do. "I'll take care of it tomorrow." Tomorrow comes. Nothing happens. "I forgot. I'll do it later." Later comes. Nothing happens. Eventually, the problem is no longer the unfinished task. The problem becomes, "I cannot depend on you." And once that feeling enters a marriage, resentment can grow quietly, because the other person begins carrying not only their responsibilities, but yours too. Then one spouse slowly becomes the manager. They remind, they organize, they plan, they follow up, they fix, they remember. and the other spouse begins behaving less like a partner and more like someone who needs to be supervised. That dynamic can kill attraction faster than people realize. Your spouse should not have to become your parent. If you are old enough to search for marriage, become serious about managing your own life. Learn how to handle responsibility before another human being depends on you. Then look at money. Money may not feel romantic, but financial habits enter marriage very quickly. How do you spend when nobody is watching? Do you buy things because you genuinely need them, or because spending makes you feel better for 10 minutes? Can you delay gratification? Can you save? Can you live within limits? Can you discuss money without becoming defensive? Do you hide purchases? Do you borrow carelessly? Do you spend to impress people? Do you believe marriage will somehow solve financial habits you have never confronted? Two people can love each other deeply and still experience enormous tension because they never learned how to talk honestly about money. One person thinks, we need to save. The other thinks, we deserve to enjoy life. One person becomes anxious about every expense. The other refuses to think about tomorrow. Neither one is necessarily evil, but if they cannot communicate, plan, compromise, and take responsibility, ordinary purchases begin carrying emotional weight. So prepare. You do not need to be wealthy to be marriage ready. Wealth and responsibility are not the same thing. Someone can have very little and manage it with dignity. Someone else can earn much more and still create chaos. What matters is honesty, discipline, responsibility. Knowing the difference between what you want and what you can actually afford, and knowing that risk comes from Allah does not mean abandoning wisdom in how you manage what He gives you. Then look at your time. What happens to your hours when nobody controls your schedule? Can you structure your day? Can you finish what you start? Can you put your phone down? This one matters more than many people think. You may be asking Allah for someone who will give you attention, while training yourself every day to give your attention to a screen. Think about that. You want deep conversations, but can you sit for 30 minutes without checking notifications? You want someone to feel heard, but are you actually capable of listening when your phone is beside you? You want emotional intimacy, but what happens when every quiet moment gets filled with scrolling? Some marriages are not destroyed by one dramatic betrayal. They are slowly starved by thousands of moments in which one person was physically present and mentally somewhere else. A spouse sits beside you, but your eyes are on the screen. They tell you about their day. You say, I'm listening, but you barely look up. They try again tomorrow, then again. Eventually they stop sharing as much, and perhaps years later both people wonder where the closeness went. Closeness often disappears in small pieces. So practice presence now. Learn how to be where you are. Learn how to sit in silence without immediately reaching for stimulation. Learn to give another person your eyes when they are giving you their heart. Then there is your physical environment. This may sound painfully ordinary, but ordinary things matter. How do you live when nobody is coming over? Do you take care of your space? Do you clean after yourself? Do you expect someone else to notice what needs to be done? Can you cook basic food if necessary? Can you wash what you use? Can you take care of your clothing? Can you organize your belongings? Marriage is partnership, and partnership becomes difficult when one person silently believes ordinary responsibilities belong entirely to the other. Do not enter marriage with entitlement disguised as tradition. Learn responsibility. Learn service. The Prophet Muhammad participated in the life of his household. There is dignity in serving the people you love. Sometimes love looks like beautiful words. Sometimes love looks like noticing that your spouse is exhausted and doing something before they have to ask. Sometimes it looks like making food, cleaning something, taking care of a responsibility, handling an errand, giving them an hour to rest. There are forms of affection that do not sound romantic when described, but feel incredibly romantic when you are tired. And then there is family. This is one of the areas people underestimate most before marriage. You are not only bringing another person into your life, you are bringing together histories, expectations, families, cultures, different ways of doing things. Maybe your family expects constant involvement. Maybe theirs values privacy. Maybe your mother is accustomed to knowing everything about your life. Maybe their family communicates differently. Maybe someone has strong opinions about where you live, how you spend, how often you visit, or how your household should operate. If you do not understand boundaries before marriage, you may force your spouse into conflicts they never created. Marriage does not mean abandoning your parents. Islam gives parents tremendous rights, but honoring parents does not require exposing every private disagreement in your marriage. Not every argument needs an audience. Not every mistake your spouse makes needs to become family news. Not every decision requires 10 outside opinions. Some things need wisdom, some things need counsel, and some things simply need two spouses to sit together, fear Allah, communicate, and protect the privacy of their home. If every disagreement becomes, my mother says, my sister thinks, my friends agree with me, then your spouse may begin feeling like they are married to an entire committee. Learn boundaries, learn what should be shared, learn what should remain private. Learn how to honor family without allowing unnecessary interference to poison your home. And then there is the part of your private life that matters more than all the others. Who are you with Allah when nobody sees you? Not when you post something Islamic, not when you speak about deen, not when other people are impressed by your knowledge. When you are alone, what happens to your salah? What happens to your eyes? What happens to your phone? What happens to your tongue? What happens to the habits nobody knows about? Because eventually your private character enters marriage. You can hide certain things during the search. You can present the best version of yourself. Everyone does this to some degree. But you cannot build a peaceful home upon a secret life that is constantly pulling you away from Allah. If there is something you know is poisoning your heart, do not tell yourself, I'll stop when I get married. That sentence can be dangerous. People sometimes believe marriage will automatically cure habits they have spent years feeding. I'll lower my gaze once I'm married. I'll stop looking at that content once I'm married. I'll become disciplined after marriage. I'll pray properly once I have a spouse who encourages me. I'll become responsible when somebody depends on me. Why wait if you cannot fight a habit while single? Marriage does not guarantee that the battle disappears. Now another person's heart may simply become affected by it too. Your spouse is not medication for your lack of discipline. They are not responsible for dragging you toward Allah every day. Encourage each other, yes. Remind each other, yes. Help each other, absolutely. But do not enter marriage expecting another person to build the relationship with Allah you refuse to build yourself. Begin now. There is another question worth asking tonight. What happens when nobody appreciates what you do? Because marriage contains a lot of invisible work. You may do something kind and nobody notices. You may carry a responsibility and receive no thank you. You may sacrifice something and your spouse may not understand how difficult it was. Can you still do good without constantly keeping score? This matters because scorekeeping can poison love. I did this for you, so you should do that for me. I apologized last time, so now you should apologize first. I visited your family, so you owe me. Soon, marriage becomes a ledger. Every act of kindness becomes a debt. Every sacrifice becomes evidence. But some of the most beautiful things you will do for your spouse should be done because Allah sees them, even if your spouse forgets to notice. That does not mean accepting being chronically unappreciated. Gratitude matters deeply, but your goodness cannot survive only on applause. Sometimes you serve because service is part of your character. Sometimes you forgive because Allah loves forgiveness. Sometimes you restrain yourself because Allah sees. Sometimes you carry something quietly because you know the reward is not limited to the thank you another human being gives you. That is what makes private character so powerful. Public character asks, who is watching? Private character asks, does Allah see me? And He does. So look at your life tonight, not your future wedding. Your life now. Look at your room, your schedule, your spending, your commitments, your phone, your relationship with family, your salah, your habits when nobody is around, your ability to care for yourself, your ability to carry responsibility, because these things are already becoming part of your future marriage. You are practicing something every day, either discipline or avoidance, either responsibility or excuses, either presence or distraction, either honesty or secrecy, either boundaries or dependence, either consistency with Allah or a relationship with Him that only becomes serious when life hurts. You may think you are simply waiting to meet someone, but you are also becoming the person who will eventually live beside them. And perhaps that is why this season matters so much. Use it. Learn basic life skills. Learn how to manage what Allah has given you. Pay what you owe. Keep your word. Clean your space. Respect your time. Put your phone down. Strengthen your sada. Protect your eyes. Learn healthy boundaries. Become dependable. Become the kind of person whose presence reduces the weight another person carries, instead of adding unnecessarily to it. Because someday, your future spouse may come home exhausted, and in that moment, they will not need the version of you who knows how to say beautiful things about love. They may simply need the version of you who notices, who helps, who listens, who carries something without being asked, who can be depended upon, who makes home feel lighter. That is love too. Quiet love, unseen love, the kind of love that rarely appears in fantasies about marriage, but becomes precious after years of living together. So do not only prepare yourself to fall in love, prepare yourself to build a life, because a beautiful marriage is not sustained only by two people who feel strongly about each other. It is sustained by two people who repeatedly choose responsibility, mercy, service, honesty, and the consciousness of Allah in ordinary moments. But there is still one final thing. You can improve your character. You can heal your fear. You can learn how to disagree. You can become responsible and disciplined and still enter marriage, carrying one expectation that no spouse on earth will ever be able to fulfill. You can expect another human being to become the center of your heart. And if you do that, even a beautiful marriage can begin carrying a weight it was never created to hold. That is why the final lesson is the deepest one. 5. Make Allah your center before love becomes your center. There is one mistake that can make even a beautiful marriage feel disappointing. You can marry a good person, a loyal person, a gentle person, someone who genuinely fears Allah, someone who chooses you without games, someone who listens when you speak, someone who protects your dignity, someone who tries to make you happy, and still feel an emptiness they cannot remove. Not because you married the wrong person, but because you quietly gave them a job no human being was created to perform. You expected them to complete you. Think carefully about what many people are really saying when they say, "I just want to get married." Sometimes they mean, "I don't want to feel lonely anymore. I want someone to make me feel wanted. I want someone who will finally understand me. I want someone who will make me feel secure. I want someone who will always be there. I want someone whose love will make me feel like I am enough." These desires are human. There is nothing shameful about wanting companionship. Allah created marriage with affection, mercy, and tranquility. Wanting someone beside you is not weakness. Wanting to be loved is not wrong, but somewhere between wanting love and needing love, a dangerous shift can happen. A spouse stops becoming a blessing from Allah and starts becoming the thing you believe you cannot be okay without. That is where love becomes heavy, because now every change in them changes you. If they are affectionate, you feel secure. If they are quiet, you feel rejected. If they praise you, you feel valuable. If they are distracted, you feel invisible. If they are close, you feel peaceful. If they need space, you feel abandoned. Your emotional world begins rising and falling according to another human being, and without realizing it, you have handed them the keys to your peace. No spouse can carry that responsibility forever. Even the most loving person will have days when they are tired. There will be moments when they do not understand what you are trying to say. There will be times when they forget something important. Times when they are dealing with their own pain. Times when they cannot give you the reassurance you want. Times when they need you to carry them instead. And if you entered marriage believing, "This person will finally make me whole," those ordinary human limitations may feel like betrayal. You may think, "You've changed." Maybe they have not. Maybe you are simply discovering that they are human. That discovery can be painful when you expected something more than human from them. This is why before marriage, your heart needs to know where home truly is, with Allah. Because there will be nights when your spouse is sleeping beside you and still cannot understand what is happening inside your chest. Allah knows. There may be a fear you cannot explain properly. Allah already knows it. There may be tears you hide because you do not know how to put them into words. Allah sees them. There may be a dua you have repeated so many times that you no longer know what else to say. Allah heard the first one, and every one after it. There may come a moment when the person you love wants desperately to help you, but they simply cannot. They cannot change what happened. They cannot control tomorrow. They cannot open every closed door. They cannot heal every wound. They cannot guarantee an outcome. But Allah can change what no human hand can touch. This is the relationship you need before marriage. Not because marriage does not matter, because marriage matters enough that you should not ask it to become your religion. And sometimes that happens quietly. You do not bow to the person. You do not call them your God. But your heart begins behaving as though their presence is the source of everything. You become more afraid of losing them than losing closeness to Allah. You compromise something Allah commanded because you are afraid they will leave. You cross a boundary because you want to keep their attention. You delay salah because you are talking to them. You accept what you know is wrong because losing the relationship feels unbearable. You know something is pulling you away from Allah, but you keep calling it love. Be careful. Any love that requires you to repeatedly disobey the one who created your heart is asking too much from you. A person written as a blessing should not become more important than the one who wrote the blessing, and this matters even before marriage. Sometimes a person becomes so obsessed with finding a spouse that marriage itself becomes the center of their relationship with Allah. Every dua is about marriage. Every sign is interpreted through marriage. Every Islamic video becomes, "Is this a sign my spouse is coming?" Every good thing that happens becomes, "Maybe this means marriage is close." Every delay becomes, "Why is Allah withholding this from me?" And gradually, instead of seeking Allah, you begin seeking marriage through Allah. There is a difference. One says, "Ya Allah, I want this deeply, but I want you more." The other says, "Ya Allah, I will feel okay with you once you give me this." That second place is dangerous. Because what happens if the answer takes longer than you expected? What happens when another year passes? What happens when someone younger than you gets married? What happens when your friend announces an engagement? What happens when you attend another wedding alone? What happens late at night when the room becomes quiet and you wonder, "Why not me?" Those moments reveal what the heart is attached to. And perhaps you have experienced one of them. You are genuinely happy for someone. You congratulate them. You smile. But later, when you are alone, something hurts. You look at your own life and think, "Ya Allah, I have been asking too." That pain is real. You do not have to pretend it does not hurt. Take it to Allah. Tell Him. Cry if you need to. Make dua. There is no shame in longing for halal companionship. But do not allow another person's timeline to make you suspicious of Allah's care for you. Marriage is not proof that Allah loves someone more. Singleness is not proof that Allah has forgotten someone. A wedding is not a certificate of greater worth, and delay is not necessarily rejection. You see one moment. Allah sees the entire road. You see the person you want. Allah knows who they will become. You see the loneliness of tonight. Allah knows the consequences of what you are asking for 10 years from now. You see a closed door. Allah knows what was standing behind it. This is why tawakkul is not merely saying, "I trust Allah will give me what I want." Sometimes tawakkul is saying, "I trust Allah even if His answer looks different from what I wanted." That is harder, but that is where the heart becomes free. Because if your peace depends on Allah giving you one specific person, one specific timeline, one specific outcome, then you are not at peace. You are negotiating. True surrender says, "Ya Allah, you know that I want marriage. You know I want companionship. You know the kind of home I dream about. You know how lonely some nights feel. But do not give me something simply because I am desperate for it. Give me what is good. Protect me from what I cannot see. And if I have to wait, do not let the waiting take me away from you." That is a powerful dua, because sometimes the thing you are asking Allah to hurry may be the very thing His mercy is preparing carefully. Maybe you are not ready yet. Maybe they are not ready yet. Maybe the circumstances are not ready. Maybe Allah is protecting you from a person you would have chosen because you could not see what He sees. We cannot know the hidden reasons behind every delay, and we should not pretend that we do. But we can know this: your waiting does not have to be empty. You can become closer to Allah while you wait. You can become stronger while you wait. You can become more emotionally mature, more disciplined, more honest, more useful, more peaceful. You can build a life instead of standing beside the door staring at it every day. Because one of the saddest mistakes is putting your entire life on hold until marriage begins. I'll travel after marriage. I'll become serious about my goals after marriage. I'll enjoy life once I have someone. I'll become disciplined when I have a family. I'll get closer to Allah when my spouse encourages me. No, your life with Allah is happening now. These days count too. These nights count too. This version of you matters too. You are not in a waiting room outside your real life. You are already living it. Do not give years of your life to an imaginary future while ignoring what Allah placed in your hands today. Pray today. Grow today. Serve your parents today. Build useful skills today. Take care of your body today. Strengthen your character today. Learn today. Repent today. Enjoy halal blessings today. Become someone you respect today. Then if Allah gives you marriage, you will not enter it saying, "Finally my life can begin." You will say, "Alhamdulillah, Allah has added another beautiful responsibility and blessing to the life He already gave me." That creates a completely different marriage, because now your spouse does not have to carry your entire identity. You had purpose before them. You had a relationship with Allah before them. You knew how to sit alone before them. You knew how to regulate yourself before them. You knew where to take the pain another human being could not solve. And strangely, this allows you to love them more beautifully, because desperation makes love possessive. Tawakkul makes love grateful. Desperation says, "Do not leave me. I cannot survive without you." Tawakkul says, "I love you deeply, and I will honor this blessing while Allah allows us to walk together." Desperation says, "You are mine." Tawakkul remembers, we both belong to Allah. That truth changes marriage. Your spouse is not something you own. They are an amana, a trust, a soul with their own relationship with Allah, their own fears, their own weaknesses, their own purpose, their own journey toward the akhirah. You are not marrying someone merely so they can make you happy. You are accepting responsibility for how your presence affects another servant of Allah. That should make love more careful, more merciful, more humble, because one day, every marriage on this earth ends, sometimes through separation, sometimes through death. Even the couples who love each other for 60 years eventually face the reality that this dunya was never permanent. That is not meant to make marriage feel dark. It is meant to make love precious. You do not have forever here, so stop wasting love on ego. Stop wasting years on unnecessary pride. Stop treating the person beside you as though they are guaranteed tomorrow. And do not build your entire existence upon something Allah told us from the beginning is temporary. Love people deeply, but anchor yourself in the eternal. Then when life changes, you grieve as a human being, but you do not lose the foundation beneath your soul. This is why your relationship with Allah before marriage may become one of the greatest gifts you eventually give your spouse. Because when Allah is your center, you do not ask your spouse to become everything. You do not expect them to read your mind. You do not demand perfection. You do not make every difficult mood about yourself. You can forgive ordinary human shortcomings. You can give space without immediately assuming abandonment. You can love them without worshiping their approval. And when the marriage itself experiences difficulty, both of you have somewhere higher to turn. Imagine two people arguing and both remember Allah. Imagine both people being angry, but both know their words are being recorded. Imagine one person's ego saying, "Never apologize first," but their heart says, "Allah loves reconciliation." Imagine being tempted by something outside the marriage, but remembering Allah sees what your spouse cannot see. Imagine being able to wrong your spouse privately, but stopping because you fear the one who sees you privately. That is why deen matters in marriage, not because religious language makes someone automatically perfect. It does not, but genuine consciousness of Allah creates a boundary where another human being cannot. Your spouse cannot watch you every second. Allah can. Your spouse cannot know every intention. Allah does. Your spouse cannot follow you into every private moment. Allah is already there. So do not only search for someone who talks about Allah. Become someone who remembers Allah when nobody else would know what you chose. That is the person your future marriage needs. And there is one more thing. Do not wait until marriage to learn how to speak to Allah when your heart is lonely. Learn now. When the room becomes quiet tonight and you feel that ache, do not immediately run from it. Do not always drown it in scrolling. Do not spend another hour watching other people's relationships and making your own life feel empty. Put the phone down. Sit with Allah. Tell Him what you want. Tell Him what frightens you. Tell Him what you are tired of waiting for. Tell Him where your heart keeps becoming attached. Ask Him to remove what is not good for you. Ask Him to bring what is good at the right time. And then ask something deeper. Ya Allah, if you gave me the spouse I keep asking for tomorrow, would my heart know how to love them without placing them above you? That question matters. Because perhaps you do not only need Allah to send someone, perhaps you need Him to prepare the place that person will occupy inside your heart. A place of love, not worship. A place of companionship, not dependence that destroys you. A place of gratitude, not possession. So yes, Ask Allah for marriage. Ask boldly. Ask repeatedly. Ask for someone righteous. Ask for someone gentle. Ask for attraction, compatibility, mercy, trust, a home filled with sakina. Ask for someone who will hold your hand through difficulty, someone who will protect your dignity, someone who will remind you of Allah, someone with whom you can build a family and walk toward Jannah. But tonight, change the dua slightly. Do not only say, Ya Allah, send me the right person. Say, Ya Allah, make me ready for the right person. Heal what would make me control them. Correct what would make me hurt them. Soften what has become hard inside me. Teach me how to disagree without becoming cruel. Teach me how to carry responsibility before someone depends upon me. Protect my eyes. Protect my tongue. Protect my private life. Remove desperation from my love. Do not let loneliness make me choose what you are protecting me from. Do not let attention fool me into calling something love. Do not let marriage become more important to me than obedience to you. And when you finally place someone good in my life, do not let me destroy the blessing because I refuse to become ready for it. Maybe that is the real work of this waiting season. You thought you were waiting for a person, but perhaps Allah is teaching you how to become a spouse. You thought the unanswered dua meant nothing was happening, but perhaps some of the most important changes are happening where nobody can see them. Inside your character, inside your habits, inside your expectations, inside your relationship with Allah. So stop asking only, where is the person written for me? Ask, what am I becoming while I wait for them? Because finding the right spouse matters, but knowing how to recognize them matters. Knowing how to protect their heart matters. Knowing how to control your anger matters. Knowing how to carry responsibility matters. Knowing how to love without turning love into worship matters. And if Allah has not opened that door yet, do not waste the hallway. Become better there. Pray there. Heal there. Grow there. Learn there. Come closer to Allah there. So that if the door finally opens, you do not enter marriage expecting another person to complete your life. You enter knowing something far more beautiful. Your spouse may become one of the greatest gifts Allah ever places in your hands. But they were never meant to replace the one who placed them there. Before you ask Allah again, when will my spouse come? Ask one deeper question. Ya Allah, am I becoming ready for the person I keep praying for? Use this season to heal what could hurt them, strengthen what could protect your marriage, and bring your heart closer to Allah, because the goal is not simply to get married. The goal is to build a marriage filled with mercy, responsibility, peace, and barakah. And perhaps while you are waiting for the right person, Allah is doing something just as important. He is preparing you to become the right person too. If this message reached you at the right time, share it with someone who may need it. Subscribe for more Islamic reminders, and tell me in the comments, what is one thing you want to improve in yourself before marriage?